Lights, camera, action.
There we are.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're viewing from. This is Laura Thompson, your friendly, fabulous, feisty, fierce, and phenomenal CEO and creator of TAN TV, the African American Network, where we have a local feel with a global reach, and you're tuned into the coffee break. And guess who I rushed in here and found sitting, waiting to have a coffee break with me?
There you go.
Judge John Longoria. How you doing, Judge Longoria?
Laura, it's a pleasure to see you and to join you. It's John Amos Longoria.
Uh-oh.
I was named after my Uncle Amos, who was killed in World War II.
Okay.
19 years old and 2 months.
Wow.
That's when he gave his life for this country.
Wow. I didn't realize he was that young. Wow.
He was. God bless him.
And so you bear your father's name and your uncle's name.
I bear my grandma's name because I was born. She was praying that I'd be a boy, so they could name me after her son Amos, the baby of the family. And I was born on her birthday, Grandma Juanita.
Wow.
And so they named me John, and Amos from my uncle.
Wow. You know, that's crazy. I know we were talking offline, off the set, about what happened. And I have a sister named Juanita.
Really?
And I have another sister. She was born on November 19th.
Really?
And so that's
Isn't that amazing?
A big, great coincidence.
It sure is.
Right. So that
November
makes
1943. That's when
Wow.
he passed away.
Wow.
God bless his soul.
Wow. So he served his country well. He started off with good intentions
Yes.
to serve his country. And so we're here today to kind of celebrate all the things that you've accomplished as a judge and what's in the future for you. And so Judge Longoria, as the title says, he's a judge, and he's been a judge for quite a long time. So could you tell us a little bit about your background as a judge and, you know, what you do, why you do it, and why you continue to do it?
Thank you, Laura. The truth is that I've been blessed many ways. God's been good to me. He blessed me by a mother and father that didn't have a lot of school, but they raised me to care about our community, our families, our communities, and those things that are important, and to have values that make it necessary for me to serve our community. They raised me to serve God, country, and community. I served as a captain, United States Army Reserve. At least I was discharged with that rank. I have served my church since I was a little bitty kid. 6 years old, I was a little altar boy.
Wow.
And I've served the church consistently. In the public view, I have served on the VIA board, the VIA Transportation. It's VIA Public Transit Authority. I served on there for 3 years. I rose to the rank of vice chair of the authority. Then from there I went and served as county commissioner and county judge a total of 9 years.
Wow.
I was going to quit politics then and stay with my law practice, but an opportunity, almost a necessity, arose for me to serve as state representative. I did 10 years serving our community. And in between, I've had all kinds of opportunities or blessings. One of the biggest blessings of my life is I have a wonderful wife, Patty, that's tolerated me. She's put up with me for 54 years so far.
Wow, that's awesome.
We are both lifetime residents of Bexar County, and we raised our family here, and we're proud of that. Now, I served on the Bexar Metropolitan Water District. After I left, there were some problems, but nonetheless, I also served, incidentally, as a temporary emergency justice of the peace. There was a justice of the peace that had to have surgery, and they needed, the commissioner's court asked me to serve on a temporary basis. I was supposed to be in there for just a month, 6 weeks, and I told them I would not take any pay. I wanted to be in 6 months. So the old expression, no good deed goes unpunished. But the fact is, I made a commitment, I lived up to it, and I enjoyed it. Now I have been the judge of County Court at Law Number 5 for going on 7 years.
Wow.
Now, I've been a licensed lawyer 48 years.
Wow.
So I have a history of serving our community. In my church, I've done everything from being a lector to teaching Christian doctrine. 29 years. I finally got a little tired after 29 years. I still right now serve on the finance committee at my church. And to me, I was raised to serve, and I want to continue to serve, and that's why I'm asking people to support me and vote for me. I believe that to be a judge, you should have wisdom. And Laura, wisdom, if you look up the definition, it's experience and knowledge and good judgment. And just to add one little note, there are 15 county courts at law judges.
Wow.
I am one of 15. All of us, the others, have regularly, for 6 years now, elected me as the administrative judge or the leader of the judges. So I think that should say something to people. It's a variety of judges. I think we represent the judges, the county court of law judges represent all our community. We have African Americans, Hispanics, females, lesbian. We have non-Hispanic whites. We are a good mixture of people that work hard together.
Wow. So you have been in this business. You've seen a lot. You've done a lot. You've worked in, it sounds like, all aspects on every level on the political realm. And so why did you have such a diverse political and service career?
It was a combination of opportunities that arose, and I don't want to be too proud, but the thing is that I recognized that there were some things that needed to be done. As a state rep, state representative, when I got there, it was amazing to me. For example, all our prisons were full of people of color. This was 1993. Not one warden or assistant warden was a person of color. When I left, that had been changed because I quietly, persistently, doggedly pushed those issues. It's interesting that the lobbyists, you could count on maybe 2 or 3 fingers people of color that were hired to be lobbyists. Yet there were big companies that paid for that lobbying and were not paying people of color. And I happen to have been in a position, I served on what's called the State Affairs Committee, very powerful committee. We oversaw the revamping of energy in Texas. We oversaw the revamping of telecommunications. As you can tell, those are big industries.
Yeah.
And I had the support of Chairman Wolins. We had people come and answer to us on their employment histories. And by the time I left, there was a regular quarterly meeting of the lobbyists and the organizations on the issues of sensitivity in their hiring. So I like to think that I saw some needs, and I was, again, thank God, I was in a position to do things. I didn't run around blowing whistles and ringing bells and all this, that, the other. I just quietly, persistently did push, and I'd like to think I've seen some changes.
Wow.
By the way, that also applied at County Commissioner's Court. In the courts, there were a lot of things that I was proud to see and do.
Wow, that's so amazing. So, so you've been as a state legislator. So, what are some of the things that are the same and some of the things that are different as far as voting rights that you've seen over your?
Laura, I am very disappointed to see that we have at this time a partisan effort, and bluntly, the Republican Party has decided that they don't want to encourage people to vote. They want to discourage people to vote. And they're not saying, well, we don't want black people to vote, we don't want brown people to vote. No. What they're doing is they have looked, for example, at Harris County, Houston. Harris County started a system where you could drop off your ballot, drive by and drop it off.
Mm-hmm.
And they had 24-hour voting. That was very strongly used by the people of color, African Americans and Latinos. Well, guess what? They made that illegal because they were saying there's too much chance for fraud. Now, ask yourself one question. How many fraud cases have they prosecuted as a result of drop box voting or 24-hour voting? I have heard of none, and I've been looking and watching. But what they do by doing that is they make it less probable that some of these folks, black and brown, poor, will vote. And, it is a concerted effort, and it is a sad effort, because one of our greatest rights in our Constitution is the right to vote. And it's one person, one vote. And that brings me to another issue, the gerrymandering. Oh, God. But the attitude is what's really important. If you want to encourage people to vote, to be participants in our democracy, you do that by encouraging and making it not just easy, but making it something that's important and useful and that is convenient. Working people don't use the vote to put bread and butter on their table.
Mm-hmm.
Poor people, brown people, black people, the vote is sometimes not understood as being critical, but it is in lots of ways. And when you discourage the vote, well, it makes it easier not to vote. That's bad.
Wow. So our hands are kind of tied as far as the laws, but in terms of you being a elected public official, and you're running for re-election, what are some of the things that you can do, or that voters can do, in order to ensure that they're able to vote and that you can get them out to vote?
The most important thing is numbers. The more people vote, the more impact the votes have. I have personally gone to homes and knocked on doors, and they tell me, I don't want to vote. It doesn't make any difference.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe one vote at that moment doesn't make any difference to that individual. Again, it doesn't put food on the table. It doesn't pay for the water, the light, your gasoline bill.
Mm-hmm.
We understand that. But the decisions that are made by our community together, they have a tremendous impact. Tremendous impact. We've had people like the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. By the way, his name originally was Michael. I don't know if you know that.
Wow.
Yeah, Martin Luther King Jr. He worked very, very hard, dedicated most of his adult life to civil rights and the right to vote.
Mm-hmm.
And we forget that because, yes, he was working for the civil rights of the African American, but it affects all of us. All of us.
Mm-hmm.
Brown, black, yellow, whatever the race, the American Indian, those rights and the exercise of the constitutional rights, those are important, and he fought for all of us. And, April 4th is a day I guess a lot of people will never forget. That's the day, 1968. That's the day he was assassinated. Why? Why? Because of the hatred that people felt, that one individual in particular. A hateful act to take away one of our greatest leaders in our country. What for? You can't explain that. Yet that same feeling, by the way, if you look around and see the feel and the intensity of what people say nowadays, it still exists. Mm-hmm. And it's a problem. And the only way you overcome it is by, like the Reverend said, by passive love and caring and attacking the things he wanted to attack, by the way, not just the right to vote, which was critical.
Mm-hmm.
Poverty, education. Those were things he was concentrating on. But, I'm sorry, I got off on a tangent here, but
Well, that's okay.
he was special, and it's a shame that April 4th, 68 is when he was assassinated for
Wow.
doing the right thing,
Wow. Like you said, no good deed goes unpunished, right?
really. And that's taking it to the extreme, though.
Right.
My goodness.
So you are tuned into the Coffee Break on TAN TV, the African American Network, where we have a local feel with the global reach, and we're here with the phenomenal Judge John Amos Longoria.
Thank you, Lord.
And so he's running for
County Court of Law number 5.
County Court of Law number
Re-election.
5 for re-election. And so can you give us the reason you're running again and 3 of your top priorities?
The reason I'm running simply, Laura, is that it is in my soul. I was raised to care and to serve. And I've served God, country, and community. Church obviously is part of the community. I think I bring a wealth of experience. I'm not just a lawyer. I've been around the block, as you might say. And I've served our communities honorably. I've enjoyed doing it. And very simply, I want to continue to do it as long as the Lord allows. And maybe I should say, as long as my wife and the Lord allows.
I know, right?
My
right.
dear Patty, she's put up with me.
She's
I'll
the
tell
house boss. Huh? So that's great. And so what are some of your priorities that people can look forward to?
My priorities are to try and educate the community, for one, about DWIs. People don't understand that intoxication is the word they have to think of. Everybody runs around saying drunk drivers. Even one of the most important organizations called Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. What people need to understand, for one, which I've been pushing for years, if you look at a scale from 0 to 10, 10 being just stinking, falling down drunk, intoxication starts about 1 or 2, because it's defined as drinking to the extent that you lose the normal use of your mental or physical faculties. People don't understand that. People think, oh, no, I wasn't drunk. No, I'm not drunk. And they honestly mean that, but that's not the case. The question is, are you intoxicated? And if you're intoxicated, don't drive, period. And that's one of the things I've been wanting to look at. Another crisis that we have right now is the family violence issues, especially with COVID. Sadly, many families are put together in a situation where their anger and lack of patience bubbles up to the top. So you see a lot of violence, even among loved ones, even to inflict it on children. And that's something that we need to work on. We're starting right now, as we speak, an effort to work very hard on a backlog of cases. We've got something like 5,600 cases that are backlogged.
Wow.
And a great deal of that is because of the COVID problem. We can't get juries in, we can't try cases. So we have to continue to push hard, and we are trying to do a team effort. There's 4 judges in particular: Judge Rosie Gonzalez, Judge Michael De Leon, Judge Tommy Stolhansky, and Judge Mary Roman. They are at the front line, and the rest of us, there's 8 courts. 2 of them won't participate, but there's 8 of us that are sharing some of those cases and trying to attack the problem and trying to get things done so that there's justice for the family violence. The perpetrator needs justice, but the families, the victims, need justice.
Wow. So in about 15 seconds, can you give us some closing remarks?
Laura, first of all, thank you for letting me come in and join you for the coffee. I promise not to slurp it while I go.
All right. I didn't hear you.
I hear you. Thank you for inviting me. I have lived a life of service to the country, to the community. I want to continue to do so as long as I am able. And I believe I have the wisdom, the experience and background and education, for sure, to continue to do that and to do well.
Wow. So thank you for joining me and having a virtual cup of coffee with me. This is Laura Thompson. You've been tuned into TAN TV, the African American Network, where we have a local feel with the global reach. And I've been here with the phenomenal Judge John Amos Longoria, and we've been having a sip of coffee. Thanks for joining.
Laura, thank you very much.
You're welcome.